Right, we are well beyond our scheduled departure time, so let's get our doors closed. Got a green signal there, obviously. Just a quick look back as well. Yep, that looks fine to me. One level terrain, so no need for the whole start button. Release your brakes. Notch 2 of power. Train begins to move. 5 miles an hour attained. Notch 4 of power. We're away. Speed limit 90 miles an hour. Next station East Croydon in 15 miles time. Right, so in about 2 miles time, we can expect a reduction in the speed limit down to 80 miles an hour. So there's a little secret for slowing down for this 80 mile an hour limit, similar to the way we slowed down to the previous 80 mile an hour limit at Walkham Tunnel Junction. So we just passed through Salford Station there. That was Salford Station that we just passed through. What you want to do at this footbridge after Salford Station, shut off your power completely. You'll be doing about 90 miles an hour by then, assuming that you've just departed from Gatwick Airport Station. Shut off your power after passing beneath the first footbridge after Salford Station, and then that will bring your speed down to 80 miles an hour. The upcoming 80 mile an hour speed limit on a very nice braking curve. I can't even call that a braking curve because we're not using any braking force at all. But yeah, gravity will bring your speed down in time for the reduction down to 80 miles an hour. So that is coming up now, just on the other side of this right hand bend. So we're gonna pass through another station known as Ellswood Station. You've got the platforms for Ellswood on the left there, but there are no platforms on the fast lines which we are traveling on. And here is the commencement of the 80 mile an hour limit. So you can see literally bang on. that was sharp. You guys saw that. We were doing 81 and then it ticked down to 80 just as we entered the 80 zone. That is, you can't make this stuff up. I'm telling you, I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. We're now entering a very steep upward gradient, so gonna go into full power there. Full power there. goodness. Take time and pronounce your syllables, VRD. Full power. We're now back in full power. If you're paying attention, you would have realized that the speed limit has now gone back up to 90. So that 80 limit was very short-lived. It was just to allow us to negotiate around a very tight right-hand bend. So we're now accelerating back up to 90 miles an hour. Right, so another little trick for you guys. As you enter this tunnel here, so the tunnel that we passed through previously was known as the Sand Tunnel, also known as Red Hill Tunnel. This tunnel that we're in now, so the second tunnel after Gatwick Airport, is known as Quarry Tunnel. So as you enter that tunnel, you'll be doing about 90 miles an hour, providing that you obeyed my previous instructions. So if you're doing 90 miles an hour on entry into this tunnel, shut off your power, and that is gonna just shutting off your power and running off of momentum and gravity from here will have you maintaining the speed in an efficient manner up until East Croydon Station, which is still a good 7 miles away. So again, a little trick for you guys. Word to Bruno Mars, if you don't believe me, just watch. Because you could, if you wanted to, you could continue just applying bit by bit of power and bit by bit of brake to maintain 90 miles an hour exact. But by doing this way, you're one, reducing the workload off yourself, and two, you're just cutting down on the wear and tear of the train ever so slightly. So a win is a win, man. So yeah, just on entry into that tunnel that we exited not too long ago, just shut off the power. If you're doing 90 miles an hour in an 8 carriage train, the carriage length of the train is quite important as well, because different lengths of the way the train deals with the momentum is dependent on the amount of carriages it have. Yeah, oh my goodness, it has. But yeah, in an 8 carriage train, like I said, shutting off power on entry into that tunnel at 90 miles an hour, you're going to be maintaining speed in a very efficient manner. You can see now I haven't touched the control since then, and we're just slowly rolling up towards 90 miles an hour. And by the time we actually get to 90 miles an hour, we're going to be ready to begin braking for East Croydon Station. And you've got a bit of it's a bit weird, you've got some speed reductions on the approach to East Croydon Station. It's a bit like landing a plane almost. It's not that bad. You've only got a reduction down to 60 miles an hour just before South Croydon Station, which is the final station on approach to East Croydon. Then you've got a 45 limit about a quarter of a mile out from East Croydon. Actually, then you've got a 30 limit that follows that, but that's only if you're being routed into platform 1, which I believe we are. Yep, East Croydon platform 1, it says it in the top left there. So yeah, it's a bit, don't worry, don't panic guys, I'm gonna call out every speed limit change along this journey, but yeah, just it's important to keep that in mind as well. So we are coming up on Purley Station now. Still haven't touched the controls, by the way. That's a testament to how well these trains can actually coast. Coasting meaning just running off of momentum and gravity and stuff like that. Like these trains are they're very economic. Right, so we're now coming up on Purley Oak Station. Purley Oak Station is not too far from the reduction in the speed limit down to 60 miles an hour. So you can see I'm acknowledging an AWS alert for the warning board associated with the reduction in the speed down to 60 miles an hour. What I'm going to do at that bridge there that we just passed, that underbridge there, rewind it if you didn't realize, if you didn't notice it or anything like that. But that underbridge that we just passed there, get a brake step 1 application in, and then from there your speed limit is gonna come down. Your speed limit, oh my goodness, your speed is gonna come down to 60 miles an hour on a very nice braking curve. It's almost gonna be bang on. Like it works every time, providing that you're doing 90 miles an hour. That bridge there, shortly after passing the warning board for the 60 limit, just get a brake step 1 application in there, and then once you get down to 60, release the brakes, and you're gonna be down for the limit just in time. So you can see on this occasion I released the brakes slightly too early, so we're now doing 61 in the 60 limit, but 1 mile an hour above the speed limit does not warrant any type of action like that. If you're OCD like me, it is slightly unfortunate, but you know, we're just gonna push through. Now I'm gonna jump back on the brakes again to slow down for the 45 limit, which commences at this signal here. There we go. And that signal had a position 1 junction indication, so if you're paying attention you would have seen the 5 white lights pointing diagonally upwards to the left. So that tells us that we are being routed into platform 1, which, like I said earlier, platform 1 has a 30 limit on entry into the platform. So I continued braking after entering the 45 limit, just bouncing between brake steps 1 and 2 to ensure we were down for the 30 limit in time. And if you're paying more attention, you'd have realized that the signal protecting East Croydon Station was displaying a single yellow signal. So because of that, we are having a slightly slower entry speed into the platform. Whenever the signal protecting the station is displaying a single yellow, that tells you that the platform starter signal is going to be showing a red aspect, and it's just good practice to be entering the station at a slightly more reduced speed when that is the case. And we are an 8 carriage train, so we are trying to get that 8 to 9 car stop board in the little porthole window here. I feel like I'm not going to be able to pull it off, but we will try our very best. Come on. There we go. Beautiful stuff. Brake step 3, neutral. We have a red signal in front of us, so we are going to set our driver reminder appliance. Very important that you do that. And we've got an offside door release, so we're going to get out of the driver's seat, cross the cab, and use these buttons over here, because that is the preferred method of practice when opening doors on that side of the train. It just stops you from accidentally opening the doors on that side. So yeah. But yeah, East Croydon Station, my people, East Croydon Station. Right, we are at our scheduled departure time. I actually still think we're running slightly late. You can see our signal is now displaying a green aspect, so we can reset our driver reminder appliance, get these doors closed. Right, doors are closed. We've got our blue door interlock lights illuminated there, telling us that the doors are closed and locked. Into forward. Release the brakes, brake step, sorry, notch 2 of power. 45 miles an hour. What I'm actually going to do, because the speed limit is 30 going up to 45 miles an hour very shortly, I'm just going to sit about in notch 2 of power for now. Speed limit goes up to 45 miles an hour from 30 about halfway along the platform there at East Croydon, but because obviously the full length of our train needed to be clear of that before we are actually able to accelerate up to 45 miles an hour. So speed limit now goes up to 60 miles an hour. So again, we're just gonna hang about in notch 2 of power for now. Because if you go into notch 3 or 4, we're going to get up to 45 before the 45 limit becomes a 60 limit. So it means we're going to have to shut off the power again and then reapply power once we're in the 60 limit. It's just an annoying way to drive. So by sitting about in notch 2 of power, it just allows us to not have to constantly be on the controls like that. Again, just efficient driving, economic driving. It's a skill that you pick up the more and more you play the game. Speed limit will shortly be going up to 70 miles an hour, and we're going to be on a rolling downward gradient for the rest of the way into London, barring a short upward gradient around the Battersea area. Other than that, it's going to be a downward gradient. So what I'm going to do now is shut off the power at 57 miles an hour. We've just passed the 70 board, marking the beginning of the 70 limit. So about 57, 56, 55 miles an hour, shut off the power there, and your speed is gonna gravity's gonna take control of the speed here for a bit. So your speed's gonna be about 65 initially at first. The highest it will probably get through gravity is about 67, 68, and then it will start to roll down back towards 60. And then you're gonna have a speed reduction down to 60 miles an hour just before Balham Station, which is in about 2.5 miles time. So you might need to tap on the brakes for that ever so slightly, but we'll see what happens. So this is one of those times where even though the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, it's not necessarily essential to maintain 70. You can just literally shut off the power back there at Solhurst when we did and just cruise at 65, 63 miles an hour like we're doing now, and you're not going to lose too much time. Like I said, just saving a bit of electricity and reducing the workload off of yourself overall. It's a bit of a higher IQ way to drive. This is Norbury Station that we're coming up on now. We've got a very brief upward gradient into Norbury Station in the northbound direction, and it becomes a very steep downward gradient after that. So this is where we're gonna this is most likely where we're gonna get closest to 70 miles an hour. So we're doing 65 at the moment, and watch it just fall into a huge downward gradient. So -1 in 700 or something, it's just gone up to 1 in 800 or something. So it has shallowed out a bit, and we made it up to, oh no, it's now upwards 1 in 800. So we're now going back upwards. It's going to become a downward gradient again ever so slightly, because we're descending down to sea level now, because the River Thames is obviously at sea level. So we're going down towards London, which is also at sea level. So it's a descent down into London for all my geography people watching. So again, guys, I haven't touched the controls since Solhurst, and we're like I think the highest we got up to was about 67 miles an hour. We're now climbing. We're on an upward gradient, so speed is beginning to roll downwards. So what's gonna happen now? We've got a speed reduction down to 60 miles an hour. Like I said, in about a quarter of a mile from here, half a mile from here. So are we gonna need to tap on the brakes, or can we remain at? No, we're gonna need to tap on the brakes ever so slightly just to bring us below that 60 limit. So at this banner repeater here at the beginning of this left hand bend, just prepare for the reduction down to 60 miles an hour. What I'm actually gonna do is slow right down to 52.5 miles an hour. You can see we just passed the 60 board there, so the speed limit is now 60 miles an hour. But I've slowed down to 52.5 miles an hour because we're gonna enter another steep downward gradient very shortly after passing through Balham Station. So that is gonna bring us back up towards 60 miles an hour. So you can see I kind of unalive two birds with one stone. So I've obviously made one brake application to bring us down below the 60 limit and also anticipate this steep downward gradient that we're traveling along now. So I've just rather than making two separate brake applications, I've just combined them into one brake application. So you can see we're now in the steep downward gradient into Wandsworth Common Station here. Speed is now rolling up towards 60. Passing through Wandsworth Common Station now. And we are 1.1 miles out from Clapham Junction. Right, so we've got another double yellow signal. So as we pass that, same procedure, brake step 2 application. Initially shave off about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Reduce it down to brake step 1. You can see the single yellow signal by the looks of it. So that tells us that the following signal is going to be displaying a red aspect. So again, just bringing our speed down to below 20 miles an hour and then creeping up to the following signal, which we have to assume is a red aspect until we can see otherwise. Yeah, that's the one of the golden rules. Once you pass a single yellow signal, sorry guys, I don't know why I can't speak. Once you pass a single yellow signal, you have to assume that the next signal is red until you can see otherwise. Right, so next signal was red until about 5 seconds ago, where it changed up to a single yellow aspect. So that tells us that we've been cleared into Clapham Junction Station. It's a bit annoying. This happened at Gatwick Airport as well, and this actually and East Croydon. We keep getting we keep having to reduce our speed prematurely because of these cautionary signals, and it's slightly irritating because I can't show you guys the true braking points that I'd use for these stations. I'm having to brake ever so a bit earlier, which is not ideal, but hey ho. And again, you want your 30 mile an hour entry speed into the platform. Just using brake steps 1 and 2 to help you achieve that. Help you achieve that correct stop. You know what I'm saying? Stopping position for an 8 carriage train at Clapham Junction Station is How on earth do I describe this? Brake step 3, neutral, door release on the left. Stop in position for an 8 carriage train at Clapham Junction Station, northbound platform 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Platform 12 is about 3 carriage lengths away from the end of the platform. What I normally look out for is where platform 11 comes to an end, and then you've got a lamppost. You've got a lamppost where platform 11 ends. Try to get that lamppost in this little porthole window there. That is where you want to be stopped at when driving an 8 carriage. Right. Oh, we've made our time back, which is quite good to know. Right. Let's get those doors closed. Next and final station is London Victoria. London Victoria, my people. Green signal. Forward, brake release, brake step, power notch 2. Power notch 4 once we get up to 5 miles an hour, and we're away. Speed limit is now 60, shortly going down to 45 miles an hour. So some people might just accelerate up to 45 miles an hour. Some people might accelerate up to slightly beyond 45 and brake back down. That is what I'm going to be doing on this occasion. But there have been times I've just accelerated up to 45 because I couldn't be asked. Oh, yo. Alright, getting a brake step 1 application in now, upping it to brake step 2, back down to brake step 1 momentarily, releasing. Speed limit is now 45. We did enter the 45 limit doing 46, which is slightly problematic. Guys, why can't I talk? Is something wrong with me? It is slightly problematic, but it's not the end of the world. Like I said, 1 mile an hour above the speed limit isn't you're not breaching safety. You're not breaching safety like that, and you're not gonna get in trouble for it. So yeah, I'm not saying to purposefully strive for that, but if it happens, it happens. It's not a big deal, man. But yeah, that was poor from me. I should have anticipated that upcoming 45 limit well in advance. I did get the brakes in slightly too early from there. So yeah, like I said, accelerating up to 45 is probably the slightly more sensible option. I've now been in notch 1 of power for the past 45 seconds, just to maintain 45 miles an hour whilst traveling up that slope that we were just on. Gradient has now leveled out. I think it goes momentarily downhill as we pass through Battersea Park Station there. So just keep that in mind. Maybe don't accelerate all the way up to 45. Maybe you want to be doing about 43 or 44 just to compensate for that little short downward gradient there. Ensure you don't exceed the speed limit. Now passing a double yellow signal. So again, brake step 2 application in all the time. Reduce it down to brake step 1. And it's again, same thing as when we were coming into Clapham Junction, Gatwick, Croydon. It looks like we're going to be held outside of the station for a bit. So the signal protecting the station is currently displaying a red aspect, because this signal here is a single yellow. So I've decelerated right down to 20 miles an hour. On this final stretch into London Victoria, the signals are fairly close to one another, so just be cautious about that. Releasing the brakes momentarily. Now I'm gonna go back into brake step 1 because we're on a very steep downward gradient. This final half a mile into Victoria is very steep, so be careful with that, guys. Yeah, 10 miles an hour over the AWS magnet. We're playing it very safe here. Releasing the brakes now. And again, bear in mind that because of the steep downward gradient, when you release your brakes, the train is gonna pick up speed quite quickly, so don't get caught out here. You need to be very on top of your brake applications when you're coming up on these signals that protect London Victoria Station. Alright, so we've been assigned to platform 19, so we need to observe a number 19 in the SARI box associated with this signal here. Stop. The train's not trying to stop. Look at that. There we go. Right, now that we're at stand, when you come to a stand at a red signal, brake step 3, neutral, and driver reminder appliance set, and we just wait. We wait for the signal to clear. Right, my people, so after about the 2.5 minute wait, the signal is now cleared to a single yellow signal. Single yellow signal is the least restrictive aspect it can show, because we are one signal spacing out from London Victoria, which is the end of the line, so you won't get a green signal, a green aspect shown from this signal here. Little fun fact. Number 19 in the SARI box indication telling us that we are being routed into 19, which is the platform we've been assigned in our schedule. DRA reset, into forward, brake release, notch 2 of power. Speed limit is 40, instantly going down to 20 miles an hour. We're gonna accelerate up to about 15, and we're gonna shut off the power there. I feel like I should have accelerated up to 10 instead of 15 maybe. I think 15 might have been a bit too much, because again, like I said, we got that steep downward gradient there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to tap on the brakes ever so slightly just to prevent us from exceeding 20 miles an hour. If I'd shut off the power at 10 miles an hour, then we probably would have roared up to 20 miles an hour through gravity without having to tap on the brakes. But yeah, just keep that in mind. There's stuff like this that you're just gonna pick up throughout your the more you drive up and down these routes. You're gonna memorize each location where you want to apply power, take off power, apply the brakes and whatnot. 15 mile an hour entry speed into a terminus station, into a dead end platform, and then halfway along the dead end platform you're going to be doing no faster than 10 miles an hour for the TPWS grids. Anything faster than 10 miles an hour may warrant an automated emergency brake application, and you don't want that. So make sure you're doing below 10 miles an hour halfway up a terminus platform. And then about a carriage length away from the buffer stops, you want to be doing about 5 miles an hour. Just the final burst of brake, step 1, just to have us stopped accurately. You want to come to a stand just as the buffer stops disappear beneath the dashboard there. There we go, perfect. Brake step 3, neutral, DRA set because we are at a dead end, and we have a door release on the left. Master key, reverser into the off position. Master key off and removed. Headlight switch off. Tail light switch can stay in the auto position. AWS isolation isolated. DSD isolation isolated. Vigilance isolated. We need to remember to close our windows. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Return to free roam. Window. There we go. And that concludes this first route learning series, episode 1 route learning series. Yo, that confirms, yo guys, I can't even do the outro properly. This is ridiculous. That concludes episode 1 of my route learning series. There we go, for Train Sim World 5. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If it wasn't, if the quality wasn't up to standard, I apologize. I did try my best. I think I did call out every speed limit change, but I might have left it a bit too short notice. I think in the next video I will try to be a bit more. I will try to call them out in advance, just so that people can like drive along with me and listen to what I'm saying and then apply it to their own, sort of follow my call outs whilst they're driving along on their game, because I feel like that was a very effective way of learning each route for me. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys do the same. So in the next video I will be a bit more on it with the speed limit reductions and increases and breaking points for the stations and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys for watching episode 1 of this route learning series. Constructive feedback and criticism is more than welcome in the comment section below and is highly appreciated. And if you'd like to further support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I will catch you guys in the next one. Love.